All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. If you want to grab a seat so we can get started. All right. Thank you so much for being here. We are ready to start our May. It's crazy to even say May press availability. We got one more month to go. Thank you all for being here this morning. And as always, Dr. Rogers has a few updates to share, and then she will answer questions from the media. So, Dr. Rogers, welcome.
Thank you, and good morning. Thank you for joining us. I am pleased to provide updates on the fiscal year 2026 operating budget, commencement season, the summer meals program, and end of school year reminders. I want to recognize our partners who are here with us, our Board of Education Chair Janie Lichter. Thank you for being here. County Council members, County Councilman Julian Jones. Thank you for being here, as well as County Councilman Pat Young. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your partnership. Tomorrow afternoon, the Baltimore County Council will vote on the fiscal year 2026 operating budget. We are hopeful that the council will vote to fully fund the BCPS operating budget, as every dollar in the request is needed to deliver the best possible education for 110,000 students and to move our system forward. With the additional state funds that we have confirmed are available to BCPS for FY26 and further savings measures, I am confident that we will decrease the funding gap and finalize a compensation package for our dedicated Team BCPS staff members that is comparable to county government. I look forward to providing an update to the community later this week once the County Council has passed its budget and details are finalized. It is officially graduation season. I'm excited to share that more than 7,000 students will graduate from BCPS this spring. We are incredibly proud of the class of 2025. They have done remarkable work. Many of our graduating seniors have won local, state, and national awards for their achievements. This includes Eliza Annis, a Towson High School senior, who is among 2,500 distinguished high school seniors from across the nation who earned a National Merit Scholarship, and Kifa Ul Iman and Tyler Washington from Western School of Technology, who earned Exelon Foundation Chris Crane Memorial Scholarships that provide full ride scholarships, paid internships, and support of a study abroad program. You can learn more about the accomplishments of the class of 2025 by viewing our graduating senior profile series on the BCPS website. I'm looking forward to attending the ceremonies to celebrate with our students, families, and staff. I want to thank our high school administrators and staff who have worked tirelessly to plan commencement ceremonies that honor our students. I also want to thank the teachers, administrators, and staff that have supported our students over the course of their time as BCPS students from pre-K onward. Please know that you have left an indelible mark on them, and thank you. Members of Team BCPS are invited to witness these milestone events via live stream. The details and links for each ceremony are posted on our school system website. This summer, the BCPS Department of Food and Nutrition Services will once again offer free breakfasts and lunches to Baltimore County children through the Summer Food Service Program. BCPS is seeking athletic programs, academic groups, music groups, faith-based groups, summer camps, and more to register as Summer Food Service Program sites. There is no cost for participation. The program serves free meals from June 23rd to August 15th to children from 2 to 18 years of age. We encourage groups and organizations to register now to request meals for your program. We have less than 4 weeks remaining in the 2024-2025 school year. I know our students and staff are working hard to finish the school year strongly and on a positive note. I want to thank Team BCPS for the work that you have done this school year to sustain our forward progress and build positive and supportive learning spaces. I look forward to highlighting key accomplishments of this school year in the coming weeks. Students, I know it's hard to stay focused with summer right around the corner, but I want to encourage you to stay the course and let's work together to finish out these last few weeks fully engaged in the instructional program and safely participating in exciting end-of-year activities. I want to reiterate that disruptive and dangerous behaviors will not be tolerated. I urge members of Team BCPS to promptly report any safety concerns to teachers or administrators. Please stay engaged with Team BCPS this summer. We are offering an array of enriching summer school programs and camps, and our parent university has an array of tips and resources for families on how to maximize the summer months. Be on the lookout for our BCPS Summer Connect campaign, where we will share important information and system announcements throughout the summer months. Thank you. Ms. Onijala?
Hi, Dr. Rogers, Bree from WYPR. I'm curious about the last number I saw was a $38 million gap for those the teacher compensation package updates. Is there any update on that figure? I know you were looking for other sources of funding. Anything that's reduced that number at all?
So the first thing that I would like to share is the compensation packages for all staff members. Teachers are a part of the compensation, but for every staff member across Team BCPS. There has been some considerable work done. I do not want to get ahead of our funding partners. Tomorrow, there is the county council hearing and the vote, and so we will have more information to share shortly after that. But I can tell you that we have been hard at work night and day. The budget team has run and rerun numbers. We've reached out to partners, looked in every place possible to create a plan that allows us to further close the gap, to honor our hardworking employees, and make sure that whatever plan we put forward is fiscally sustainable, because we have next year to look forward to and the following years, and we want to be able to take care of our staff, not only in the immediate, but also in the out years.
Hi, quick follow-up on last night's conversation with cell phones. Do you know if all of the pilot schools are using the pouches? Apologies if that was already addressed.
It was not addressed, so they're not. And we know that. One of the things that we found is that we needed to have more flexibility and that the school community using the voice of students to identify which method was best for them. So some schools use the pouches, some schools use these clear cases that they're Velcro affixed to the top of the desk, and some schools use these clear, heavy plastic envelopes that are Velcro to the desk, and some schools, have students put it inside of their backpacks. What's most important is that the student is separated by the phone. When we received thousands of survey responses last year from our stakeholders, parents want to support us. The only question and hesitation was, what if there's an emergency? And so that has been built into our plan to make sure that the phones are still accessible to the students in the unlikely event of an emergency, but they are put away so students can focus on the instruction. So thank you for that.
I wanted to ask about the lead drinking water numbers that came out last month. And just, I know Baltimore County showed having like a pretty high percentage in schools of contaminated drinking water sources. Could you give any context to why we might see, higher numbers in the county schools?
Yes. This is one of the reasons why we're so aggressive in terms of trying to address our infrastructure and our capital projects. Baltimore County Public Schools has the third oldest set of school buildings in the state of Maryland. Thankfully, due to the partnership of our county executive, as well as Built to Learn funds that were available at the state level, we've been able to fast forward a lot of those capital projects. But what you are finding is with older infrastructures, some of the vestiges of the older infrastructures. I am proud to say that our team is aware of that fact, so they remain very diligent in terms of the testing, the sharing with the public, the results, and making sure that we're providing bottled water for these schools, that the current water is not safe for students to drink out of the water fountains, but that's directly related to how old our infrastructure is. So thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Rogers. So we've done a series of reports on the Towson High School student, Parker Jensen. We understand there's been a settlement between BCPS and the school system pertaining to his suspension. Now, I know the school system can't comment on the settlement. However, funding is a consistent concern for the school district. Has anyone at BCPS been held accountable for improperly suspending Jensen, which resulted in taxpayer money being awarded to the Towson senior?
So thank you for your question. And as you've indicated, the school system cannot make a comment. The only comment I can make is that the matter has been resolved amongst both parties. So I wouldn't be able to comment further on personnel matters or other details.
We're going to go back here. Thank you.
Can you talk about some of the results available so far from the implementation of the cell phone pilot program?
Yes. If you like, on board docs, there is a full report from yesterday, but I'm happy to give you some of the highlights. So we had 17 secondary schools participating, middle schools and high schools. And what we found in those schools, number one, that flexibility was key, that schools had to come together to develop a plan to make a personal decision. Always better when you had some student voice informing that decision of how you wanted the phone to be away. But what couldn't be flexible was the consistency that everyone in the school needed to participate. It couldn't be a different expectation in different rooms. There needed to be clarity of expectation with the students, but also with all of the parents and caregivers from the beginning. The message needed to be shared over and over again. And one of the things that we learned a few months into it, what really made the difference in the schools that have found success, is for us to explain very plainly our why. Why do we want students to put cell phones away? So less about punitive measures or we want to rule their lives of the phone, but educating our students and our families about the impact of being distracted in school, the impact of social media, what that does to the social emotional well-being of our students. And we have some early data. One of our middle schools shared, who had been tracking the data, what we found as the impact on academics. Students who are distracted aren't really focusing and engaging on the lesson to the degree that other students are. And so we see that it also has an impact on students' academic outcomes. So those are the biggest lessons, but I think having this year's work informed by principals, but also the voice of students and staff members who have participated in this process have given us the tools and the resources that we need to create a detailed implementation plan with a few models that we provide to our secondary schools. So next year, what all families can expect is that we are implementing the policy with fidelity across all of our schools, that we want students to be separated from the phones. In high schools, it's a little different from middle schools, where we build in time for responsible checking, but also for families to know if you have a message that you want to send to your student, when is the appropriate time to do that, and when should you expect that the student can respond to you. So that's a high-level overview, a lot of more, rich details, quotes, from staff members, et cetera, in that report from last night.
I know you don't want to step on your partner's toes, but are you able to share how much additional funds you were able to find for the compensation package?
I appreciate the question. I am so grateful to our partners for their support. I'm looking forward to the full funding tomorrow, because the full funding will allow us to announce the number that you're looking for.
Last night we heard from a lot of speech language pathologists across the district, and given the budget is there any possibility that there could be more hiring within special ed, considering, they're saying that their caseloads are unmanageable and in some cases violating IEPs?
Well, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. The first thing we want to add is that we've had no budget cuts to speech and language pathologists in BCPS. No cuts for this current fiscal year, no cuts planned for FY26. No matter what we do, there will be no cuts to speech and language pathologists. The other thing is, as they mentioned, there is a nationwide shortage. Baltimore County has employed both virtual speech pathologists as well as face-to-face speech pathologists. Certainly there is a preference for face-to-face everywhere, but it was using virtual speech pathologists was a method and a practice that was in place even before the pandemic, and so that's important for us to note. Our speech language pathologists did raise some concerns early in this year, and what we did was convene a group of their union leadership representatives as well as current speech language pathologist representatives with members of our special education leadership, the executive director for special education, as well as the responsible leaders for related service providers, of which speech and language is a part of that. They have met almost monthly to raise concerns, to problem solve solutions. They actually work together, and even after the beginning of the year, changed the model of how we deployed speech and language pathologists to schools based on that feedback. They've made some changes there in terms of hiring. After we heard some of the feedback, we asked Human Resources to look at our hiring over the last couple years to give us some feedback. We are right on track now for 25-26 hiring the same places that we've been over the last few years. But we continue to work with our speech and language pathologists. Workload and caseload are different, meaning the number of students assigned to a speech and language pathologist in a school is different from the number of students receiving services. So that's an area that we're going to continue to focus on, distinguishing between those differences, looking at numbers. When we look at compliance due to assessments, we don't see where that assessments from speech and language pathologists are causing us to be unable to move forward with implementing individualized education plans for our students. All of what I'm sharing with you does in no way negates the fact that speech and language pathologists are feeling that there is a whole lot of work to do. We certainly recognize that, which is why we stood up this group to collaborate. We're going to, bring them together and see what is possible, what's feasible. They made they were part of the recommendations for changing the model for who gets a face-to-face pathologist versus who receives the virtual support. And when we do virtual support, we also add a live person to help facilitate that experience for the student. And we are going to continue to work on it with them and see what we can do. As I said, we're still hiring. We have no budget reductions. We have not stopped hiring. And we'll continue to work with that team. Maybe we might expand, bring on a few more speech and language pathologists to the group to get their insights and input to see what it is that we can do together between now and the beginning of school to provide some relief. And the last piece of data I'll share with you is assignments were already released for next year. We have, I think it's over 200 providers. I'm looking at my chief academic officer, and the offer was extended that if anyone was concerned about the assignment for next year, that they could request a follow-up meeting. We had a little more than 30 of the providers, probably about 40 of the providers requested meetings because they were concerned about the assignments that were given for last year. So the vast majority did not express concern, and those people who expressed concern, they're going to have individual meetings to work through whatever those concerns might be. And so I appreciate the question.
All right, Omni Alert, you're familiar with it. It's been in the news recently after what happened in Nashville. Are you familiar with what happened at Antioch High School? You are? Okay. could you tell, Baltimore County has OmniAlert here amongst all the schools, Pine Grove included. Can you tell us about some times or instances where it's worked for Baltimore County schools?
So it's certainly worked because we receive the alerts on a regular basis. I would have to follow up to give you some exact times, but what happens when you receive alert is it goes on the persons who are identified, their phones, so that's our safety office. It goes to administrators in the schools, whoever's designated in the front office, as well as our partners. If appropriate, the police definitely, and if appropriate, fire and rescue receive that alert as well. It's validated by a human, whatever comes through the computer, and then they send out a message. We have even received many alerts for toys and things that are not real. So we know it's working. But the other thing that I think is important to share with our public is our Department of School Safety and Security. We followed up directly with OmniAlert after we saw the news to ask some questions about what occurred, what didn't occur. They did share information about the number of cameras makes a difference, the quality of cameras makes a difference in terms of the range. We are pleased that we are continue to be part of a program that with funding helps us to upgrade our cameras and just make sure that the OmniAlert system, which is overlaid on our existing cameras, interior and exterior, are on the right cameras. And so there's always a process where safety, and they're actually working together with OmniAlert to review all of that. So we avoid situations like that. We know that it's not 100%, but anything and everything that we can do to help to improve the chances that if there's an emergency that it will be picked up on OmniAlert, that is our commitment. But we certainly receive those alerts on a regular basis and can send you some follow-up data about times that we've received the alerts, but they certainly happen.
That is all the time that Dr. Rogers has. As she mentioned, it's still budget season, so we have work to do as we prepare for the County Council meeting tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next month. Drive safely.
Thank you, everyone.